speed of implementation principle is one of the highest values of the magnetic memory method. And recently we did a live stream, William Gordon and I, my friend, about critical thinking and so forth, and got some feedback from y'all. And Emerson's mentioned she'd like to hear some more about Jordan Peterson and Carl Jung. And so, vlog in an elevator, vlogging it up while you're going down. We need this. But also, do you still have maps of meaning? Can you be in our blog? Okay, I'll delete it if not. Awesome. Dymocks is one of my favorite stores, actually.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I saw Maps of Meaning was here. Mm-hmm. Is it still here?
Yeah, it should be.
Awesome.
See if we...
Wow, it's here. There it is.
Okay.
3 copies. Wow. Maps of Meaning. Thanks so much. What was your name?
Meridy.
Meridy.
Yeah.
Anthony. Sorry,
nice to meet
left
you.
hand shake. That's an interesting name, Meridy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to remember that. All right, so Meridy. What image would you create in your mind to help you remember Meridy? Very unique name.
Wow, I don't even know.
So what were you just saying about the DJ store here?
Well, I like DJ Store because I can look at the products online, of course, and I can pick what I want and I can do all my research. But at the end of the day, I like to go to the store, choose my microphones, choose all my equipment that I need, even though I've already chosen it, but I can chat to people, and that's awesome.
Then I'm not crazy by wanting to go to the bookstore today?
No.
Alright, this is level B4. Instantly, we see a bumblebee attacking a sail ship. Right? B4. Also, since 04 is Sartre, in the 00 to 99, we can have Sartre on the sailing ship being attacked by bees. Maybe make lots of bees, and we'll remember B4, right? So D. Snyder from Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, do I know a
Getting married to someone?
Well, yeah, marriage maybe. But I'm trying to think, do I know someone named Meredith?
I know someone called D. And
oh,
I can
so do
picture
I.
her.
No, do it?
Yeah,
D. Yeah.
D.
We know the same D.
Yeah.
I was thinking of V too, because we know a V, right? A V and a D.
V and a D. So D getting married.
Right. Now, here's the thing, right? Is that even if we weren't to like totally go deep into it, what we're doing right now by just thinking about this will already help get Meridy into our long-term memory, just by doing that, making associations. We know a V, we know a D, we know D. Snyder getting married to D and maybe V, and then you might think, well, wait a second, later we're going to think about Meridy and then we're going to think about V, right? Well, yes or no, but then you see like maybe V with a V-shaped guitar smashing it over D. Snyder's head or something like this, right? Meridy V, and one thing you can do is just like write it down and then visit it 5 times or so, and then check against the record by writing it down again, right? And check the record, check your new record against the old record. So one thing that I might do if I was new at this is I would check and I would write it down right now and then check later after having written it down a second time. So I could type it into the device I'm recording on now, and then write it down on a piece of paper later and see if I got it right. But in any case, I think I'm going to remember Meridy, and if not, I can always come watch this video.
Let's go have a coffee and then test it.
Okay, you test me, yeah. And where were we parked? B4, right?
Yep.
Look who we ran into. It's Sam with backlight, huge backlight. That's going to solve itself in a second. Sam, why don't you introduce yourself to the Magnetic Memory Method family?
Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing today? Actually, I'm Dr. Sam, and I do mindset and wellness consulting and coaching services, and it's great to meet you all.
Right on. Well, speaking of psychology, reach into this bag and grab the book closest to us. Have you read this?
Maps of Meaning. Not yet.
So, one thing that I think is very meaningful is we're walking in the street in our little village here,
Okay.
in Brisbane, and we just met someone named Meridy.
Uh-huh.
We parked in a place called B4. And have you ever been to B4?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. You got to park there sometime. Anyway, we were parking there, and then we went and we got maps of meaning, and we're creating a map of meaning right now because we just met you. We said, hey, you want to come to lunch?
Oh yeah, sure.
You said, hell
Happy
yeah.
to join, yeah.
And hell yeah is the way it is, right? Because we're talking about speed of implementation today.
Okay.
Just take action. And look at what happens when you take action. We get a wonderful meeting with you,
Yeah.
and you get the opportunity eventually
Yeah.
to go to the wonderful land of B4.
Okay.
We'll tell you more about it later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Burger Project! So I'm the annoying vlogger that's now asking you to do another selfie so I can vlog the selfie of me vlogging your selfie self-nation.
That's perfectly fine, Anthony. We love you.
This is like the Kubrick take 49,000. Sorry, my friends, just a little bit too hungry to vlog my eating, but rest assured, it's memory friendly. Nick, quick, what was her name at Dymocks?
Meridy.
Nice, nice. Now, did you do that cold, or did you think of the images?
No, I thought about D that we know, and I thought about D marrying that girl for some reason. So, yeah, that's the methodology.
You know, I just had this interesting experience. You know how here in Australia you don't have to enter your PIN on these cards
Yeah,
unless it's over a certain amount of money.
yeah.
I just had to enter it for the first time. Maybe in all the time that I've been here, it's like the second time I've had to do this with the business card.
Only for 2 books. Okay.
But well, I mean, this is knowledge, right?
Yeah.
It's worth it. But oh, there's Meridy. What was I gonna say? Yeah, but the thing is I was like, thank goodness that I used memory techniques to remember those numbers, because I sure would look like an idiot if I couldn't actually complete
Happened
the
to me a
purpose.
few times.
Well, you know what? We're vlogging on an escalator, so it doesn't matter. As long as you practice and keep your mind sharp and use the techniques, then failure is never a failure. All right, so we didn't vlog it, but we saw Meridy there. We got her name right, didn't we?
Yes.
And did we find the land of before?
Oh, hell yes.
Yes, we did. And so, listen, just to sum up, the speed of implementation rule was really amazing because we not only got the books that we were looking for, they really were there, and now I can go and read the conclusion or the introduction at least by the end of the day, and make more discoveries on the great ocean of the world and create new islands to reach and achieve, regardless of what the things are that one discovers in those books. So what was the question? We were talking about
memorizing book, not memorizing book, but remembering. We're reading a lot, and then all that knowledge, in my case, is flying away. It occasionally comes back to me in a concept that I need to, in a conversation or whatever.
Right.
But if I would be asked to remember a book,
Right.
and say chapter by chapter, it wouldn't be useful. So hence my question, okay, remembering the content is one thing, but then remembering the page number, what's the use of that? Because for me, and I read ebooks, I can change the font and that would change the numbers straight away. So it's inconsistent.
Right. Well, first of all, why I memorize page numbers, and I just gave you a couple examples, page 51 and 59, for example, from my reading yesterday and earlier today in Dawn of the New Everything by Jaron Lanier. The reason why I do that is partially just for the brain exercise, but also it saves me having to mark up a book that I don't own because I borrowed it from the library, right? And I want to go back and review that information to see that I actually have memorized it correctly. And partially just for brain exercise, partly for the development of knowledge, partly because I don't have the luxury of marking up that book, and all of those things combined. So it's not ever like I'm going to say, hey, you know, on page 59 of Jaron Lanier's Dawn of the New Everything, you know, blah, 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 and whatever that particular quote is, although I might. But the reality is that just as...
You're way too cool.
Well, I did do it in my doctoral defense because that was a moment where I needed to say, hey, you know what, that's on page 72. And I needed it in the moment in order to win the battle, because it was a battle, because someone, you know, was really aggressive about a particular question. But the reality is that just like you, with your Kindle app, change the pages by the virtue of how you scale the size of the text, even in print books, there are different editions, right? So there is no there's no guarantee that that's going to be on page 51 or 59 or whatever
What
it
about
is.
chapters? I can't remember
Well,
the chapter.
This is a beautiful thing because that's more likely to be stable across time, right? So now, if you have a 00 to 99, the same tools that you would use to memorize specific page numbers for perhaps the reasons that I just talked about, simple brain exercise, not marking up the books, going back for review without, having to refer to notes and all that sort of stuff. The chapter number and titles are much more likely to remain stable over time. And so basically when you have at least a 00 to 99, you can simply memorize the titles of chapters and give it the number that belongs to the title, right? Because 01 would have an image, right? Now, the way that that's valuable to you is up to you to decide what value that would have to memorize the table of contents, for example, or what chapter something was in. Do you have to memorize all chapters? Well, that depends on your outcome, what your goals are. Now, one reading strategy, and I talk about this on the podcast, How to Memorize a Textbook, and go into more detail if you want, and I'll put the link to that in the description below, is imagine that you just make a decision. You're going to read a book. It has 10 chapters. You're going to memorize 3 pieces of information per chapter. You're going to limit yourself to that just for the sake of sanity, but also to give your brain breathing room, right? So that you actually allow your natural memory to make connections because you have cornerstones and you don't sit there and try to have it all, right? Because sometimes less is more. And now you got 30 index cards, let's say, right? Or you're going to take 3 notes with whatever. You just limit yourself to that, right? So now, chapter 1, 01 in a major method for me is the sad tragedy mask, right? It's actually William Shatner wearing the tragedy mask from his role in Oedipus Rex, right? Now I'm going to read chapter 1. I'm only going to memorize 3 things. He's going to be assigned to each of those 3 things. Then I'll move on to chapter 2. I'm going to memorize 3 things. They'll be attached to the sun, right? And that's because 02 is sun based on the way I use the major method, but not any sun. It's the sun from Sunshine, the movie. Danny Boyle was the director, I believe. And so what you're doing is you're just allowing your mind to make a number of connections, and then you'll fill in the blanks. If you want to do more, like I would, if I was reading a 10 chapter book, I would have 30 index cards, for example, or a memory palace with 30 stations, right? Maybe I would actually choose a memory palace with 50 stations, or 3 memory palaces that amount to 50 stations or whatever. The point being is if you have a little bit of extra room, then yeah, you've got more certainty that, you don't have memory palace scarcity and so forth. It just depends on your mnemonic style. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
it's
I actually quite like it, and I will practice it with the book that I'm reading now, which is brilliant.
all right, what book is that?
Haha!
Can you remember?
No. It's The Bone Clock
Oh, okay.
by Michael and his last name escapes me. He wrote Cloud Atlas. That's what I remember. That being screened by Wachowski siblings later on.
Right.
But this book is also pretty good, pretty
Awesome.
complex. But I wanted to. The answer is why we would be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Australians have very good answer for it, and it's just for shits and giggles.
Very good. Well, you know what? That is a perfect justification. And who says you need a justification at all?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in any case, we'll catch up on that later, I'm sure.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, everybody, thanks for watching. Go and grab these books yourself if you want to follow along. We'll be talking about them soon on this channel. And yeah, come visit me at magneticmerrymethod.com. Visit Nick. I'll have the link to his amazing whiz-bang world down below. And get some free training, get subscribed to this channel, hit that thumbs up. And until we speak again, keep yourself magnetic.